Afternoon. My name is Chris Shroff and I'm the Managing Director at Kanya Suraksha. Kanya
Right.
Suraksha, literally translated as the safety of a girl, is an organization that aims to eradicate the inhumane practice of rape in Mumbai. We aspire to make said change with respect to its destigmatization and reduction of rape and molestation in Mumbai through many major and minor projects. We have here an interview with the Indian Activist Forum regarding their views on rape and sexual assault as a whole and methods to combat these issues. Interviewed by Ishika Shet, Vinami Shah, and Narissa Gupta, as well as Ishika Bhatia as part of the interview and logistics management.
Okay, so the first question is, what is your organization about and what does it mainly focus on?
Right. Thank you so much, Narissa, for the question. Um, all right. So, Indian Activist Forum was founded, like it was just a passion of mine. All right. So, to start off, I'll just give you my background. I am 20, I'm in my early 20s. I was a college student when I started with the Indian Activist Forum, and it was just a random social media page because like just like any other young kid out there, I just wanted to go somewhere and rant about my ideas, what I felt about the government, what I felt about the ongoing different crises in our nation. But over um, let's say over the course of an year from the day which I started this Indian Activist Forum, I saw that people were actually listening to what I had to say, and moreover, they could connect to it. So I felt like I wasn't the only one who thought that these are the problems that are pertaining to our nation, and it's something that should be addressed. So it was the time when I saw there were several anti-CA and RC protests going on. I saw big leaders like Kanhaiya Kumar, Umar Khalid, of course, Safura Zargar, they were all being detained. And what the only thing that was going in my mind was who is there who could actually go out there and fight for these people. Of course, you're doing something for this particular cause. I am doing it for something for my particular cause. There are hundreds of people who are doing something in their personal capacity, but we do not have any particular organized community out there which could go ahead and ask for justice, who could demand for justice, who could demand that this is our right, it's our right to protest, it's our right to raise our voice. And I just thought that there is no forum or there is no organizations who could just bring together all the activists out there and bring forth a more unified voice. Right. So of course, I felt that there's a need for this forum, and I went ahead with this idea. And here we are. I guess we have around, um let's say, more than 50,000 people connected to our organization through several social media handles, through our on-ground connections, our systems, through working with several NGOs. And like this was the main idea behind it, of course.
That's great. So, what exactly inspired you as an individual to be part of this organization?
All right. So, what? Let's just take it as a broad question. What really got me to be got me to take part in something that's very political in nature, and that's something a lot of people in India don't really tend to go forward with, right? Because they are like this involves politics, this involves democratic practices, this involves dealing with people in large numbers, and government officials, police, etc. So I got the opportunity to work with three national political parties as well as two regional political parties. I won't name any. So I got the opportunity of working with these organizations, and working with them was a great experience for me. But there was something that really intrigued me, and that was no matter what organization I was working with, whatever ideology they have. For example, if let's take BJP and Congress. If I'm working in BJP, uh, I knew that we were working for a particular cause, for a particular agenda. They had their set ideologies, and I had to work to like gain those like work towards furthering those aims and goals. But working within that particular organization, it didn't feel any different to me. It was the same for BJP, it was the same for Congress, or let's take JDU in Bihar, or let's take JJP in Haryana, Aam Aadmi Party. Take any organization, I have seen that working within a particular organization, you won't feel any difference. They're all the same people. It's just that they have different sets of goals and ideals. So understanding people who you're gonna go against, understanding people who you wanna raise your voice against was really important for me to understand how things work and who is right, who is wrong. And I just go ahead and say everyone is wrong. There's no right in our current political sphere. There's no one who's 100% right. There's a few organizations who are working towards it, but there's no one who's 100% right. So of course, that gave me a better insight of who I was going to deal with. It just, let's say, political domain became my forte, and I really loved dealing with those people. Like, of course it was hectic as hell, but it was something I felt like I liked doing it. So there was the, like, that's how it all began. That's what really intrigued me, that's what really pushed me forward to take this whole Indian Activist Forum thing ahead.
That's amazing. But have you faced any backlash from people who disagree with your esteemed organization and what it stands for? And how did you tackle it?
Right. So one, there's a saying that social media is both a boon or and bane, right? So of course, there's the good part where people actually connect with you. They actually understand what you're saying, and they even help you go forward with it. But then again, there's the other elements, right? People who just want to abuse, people who just want to harass different people online. They just want to bad mouth you. They just give you death threats. Like I can easily tell you that I get almost 5 to 10 death threats every day. So that's something that's very common, because all these people want to do is just mess with your brain and just make you scared, right? So the only backlash I would say that I had was these people. In the very beginning, I thought I was very well equipped. I was mentally prepared to take this thing ahead. But um, in the very initial phase, I got really scared. I wanted to ensure that it doesn't bring any harm to me or my family, of course. So yeah, I'd say that was the only backlash, and it's still a backlash. But then again, it doesn't really matter anymore, because now I have a better understanding of the of how social media works and how these social media troll works. Right.
Okay, that's amazing how you tackled it. So the next question, being one of the largest organized activist community, how many volunteer or intern applications do you receive monthly? And what kind of internships are offered?
Right. So due to the pandemic, we could not get a lot of time to scale our organization on ground with offline activities. So it's mainly online, like we're working online, that too mainly on social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So, of course, for any organization, there's three. Actually, there's one main department, that's research. Because without research, you can't just go out there and publish anything, whatever comes to your mind. You need research to back whatever you're saying, whatever you're claiming, or whatever information you're putting out there. So, of course, research is a key aspect to our organization. Other than that, we have social media. Within social media, we've got content writing, um, a bit of graphic designing, and we've got videographers, photographers, then we've got content writers. So these are the departments that we have, and we provide internships, as well as we are blessed that a lot of people who are actually having a 9 to 5 job, who are actually going to their offices, not just doing work from home, but who are actually going to the offices, even they volunteer with us. And that's a really big deal for us. And we are actually very, like on whatever occasions I get an opportunity, I just always make sure to thank them for giving them their time to our organization and for a just cause. So I'd say roughly 50 or applications per month, I guess. So yeah. And these internships are of course unpaid because of the nature of our organization. We have no monetary gains of any sorts, of course, because our cause is a better nation, a better place to live in. So of course we have no monetary gains. So pretty much all of our engagements are unpaid.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
coming to the topic, what are your views on individuals who connect rape to women wearing clothes that show no skin?
Yeah, so I was reading an article online, of course, and it showed me, like, it just took me to some website which mentioned about there's an Israeli brand, Israeli clothing brand, which released their particular section of clothing that was called "She's Asking for It." Right. This was the clothing section which was called "She's Asking for It." And now you might think that that's a bad idea. That's what I thought. But then when I went ahead and I checked out the collection, it was basically a interplay of fashion and sarcasm. So they had different types of clothing in that particular section. Now the clothes which were a bit too revealing, it was called "She's Asking for It," and the clothes which was comparatively less revealing, they were called "There's Nothing to See Here" or something like that. So of course, taking, like, it was a dig at people who actually have the idea that wearing small clothes, wearing clothes that reveal too much body parts, are an indication that a woman is asking for it, right? One of the people I follow, that's V Das. In his one of his videos, he's mentioned that the infinite beauty of being a woman is, if she's asking for it, she can just go ahead and ask for it. There's nothing there's nothing to be too shy about it, right? So the whole idea of clothing, relating clothing to any sexual violence or rape incidents, it's just bizarre, right? Giving you another example, it's like if people um, if people say that a rape incident took place because the clothes were provocative, right? I'd say then the robbers who rob a bank, they're innocent. They just found the contents which are inside a bank provocative, and they just went ahead and they, like, robbed the place. Does that make any sense? Absolutely not. It's crazy. So if you say that clothing is directly linked to rapes, it's just, the idea is crazy. It's bizarre. The whole topic, the whole rape culture, or even a rape incident, it has, like, it's a multifold problem. You can't just take out one aspect about it and just say ki clothes were the factor due to which these boys actually went ahead with it. So yeah, that's my view on it.
So let me just interrupt you. So, if you are aware, what are your thoughts on, like, what recently happened in UP and Haryana? And so there, I don't know if you've seen these videos, but a lot of people have come up with videos of interviewing the locals there, and the locals are thinking that, oh, the girls are also at fault. Like, the whole rape culture in Haryana is that, it is the girls' fault. So, what are your, like, it's small 1-2 lines also about it, like, what are your thoughts about that, like, that whole state is in that whole thought process. So yeah.
Ah, so, like, pick any topic you want to. There's always going to be two sides of the coins, right? Now in India, it's like, um, all right. So talking it talking about this particular incident in a broader sense, um, talking about the Indian culture as a whole, right? So India does not have a very defined culture. There were Mughals, right? There were Britishers, and there were other Mongolians who came in, who invaded India. They set their culture. So India does not have a very defined culture. people assume ki Indian culture is just Hinduism. Like Hindus are Indians and Hindu culture is Indian culture. No, that's wrong. I, being a history major, I can say that it's wrong. Right. The only linkage, the only common linkage that I can see with the Indian culture is that uh, the factor that's the monetary aspect. Money was always there, right? And it still is there, and it always will be there as long as the like as we exist. So it was just like even in modern India, right now, these incidents where like these rape incidents are taking place, it's Uttar Pradesh, somewhere in Uttar Pradesh in Hathras district, and there are many more cases that sprung up in Balram district, I guess, and there were many places in Uttar Pradesh. You talk about Haryana, whatever places like this is just the a common very I'm explaining this in very layman terms. A very common scenario, a very common aspect you will see in all these incidents is all these areas were um, situated in places where the economy was very low. Like the families living over there were from middle class, like were of middle class, lower middle class, and of the lower class in terms of economy, right? So it's like when there's a girl born in majority of the cases, when the girl born in these places, it's like a girl is just a baggage who has to be taken care of, and then when her parents find a good suitor for the girl, they have to just marry her off and send her away. So for the parents, she's just a baggage, nothing more, right? For the boy is an heir, a heir to their so-called throne, a boy who would look after their kingdom, their whole ancestry, and will like do wonders and so on. So of course, I mean, you can't like when I said it's a multifold problem. Economy or the money aspect plays a very big part in it, right? So pick out any instance. Mostly in 90%, I'd say 99% of the cases, these people like these cases would be of places where like places were of low-lying economy. People living over there belong to low-lying economy places, or the accused or the guilty belong to families which had very like I'd say from middle class families, lower middle class families. Mostly there are other factors as well. It's not always like it's just the people from these economic parts. There are cases where rich kids, the Bollywood kids, or the businessmen kids also do that. But in India, I'd say most cases are from these low-lying areas in terms of economy, of course.
Like you said, many people say that feminism is not in our culture and talking about sex education is not in our culture. So, where do you
Right.
think we should draw the line between Indian culture and feminism?
Again, along the same lines, I'd say Indian culture is it's pretty screwed. Frankly, it's very screwed, and there's no set definition of the Indian culture. But talking about feminism now, if I just googled feminism, just a second, I'll just read out the definition. It was feminism is a range of social movements, political movements, and ideologies that aim to define and establish the political, economic, personal, and social equality of the sexes. Now, I don't get it. What's wrong with it? I mean, if I say if our culture doesn't provide us with equality of sexes, then just like what good is has the Indian culture brought us? If our Indian culture says that equality of sexes is wrong, then I, for one, I belong to a Hindu Brahmin family, right? I, for one, I don't care what the Indian culture says if it doesn't provide the equality of sexes, right? So, moreover, it's not just about the Indian culture or like Hindu culture, Muslim culture, or culture of any caste, any religion. It's about in the modern world, people take culture like have taken up culture as something that's very flexible for them. If culture says that you can, um, if I can just go ahead and rob a bank because I need money, and to earn a livelihood, I can rob money, which I can also use to carry out several pujas for my deity or whatever shit it is, right? So I'm sorry for my language, my bad, right? So if culture says that, and I see that it's something I need, culture to keh hi raha hai, but even I need that. I'll just go ahead with that and I'll do that. But if culture says that I need to go to all the um, Tirath Yatras, Rath Yatras, I need to go to at least 10 Rath Yatras every year. If that's something that's not doable for me, I'll be like, okay, it's not difficult. My gods know कि I follow my culture, my religion at times, but it's just like एक बार है हो जाएगा खत्म. So it's just about individual's ease of like doing things. उसके लिए वो easy है, that person will go ahead with it. उसके लिए easy नहीं है, वो नहीं करेगा. Similarly, for a lot of people, feminism is something like they can't see women as their equals. It's not easy for them. It does not sit well with their male ego, their toxic masculinity, right? So it's just not doable for them. So they just don't go ahead with it. It's very simple. Culture and feminism doesn't like they don't really have a linkage. It's just that people say कि हमारे culture में ऐसे हुआ करता था. अगर culture में ऐसे हुआ करता था तो women were seen as goddesses. Is this how people would treat goddesses in our country? No. But should they? Definitely. But do they? No. So that's the thing.
Okay. So the phrase boys will be boys is famously used, and it's acceptable for men to smoke, consume alcohol, etc. However, for women, it's the opposite. What are your views on this?
Uh, Boys will be boys was like I guess it came to use when like it was an anti-male slogan or like anti-male thing that boys just should not be expected to behave properly. Like just boys will be boys, right? It's because they are bad boys, right? And the whole phrase came into being, I guess, somewhere around the uh, early early cinema experiences where we had those like in Indian cinema, there were these actors. I'm forgetting the name. Shraddha Kapoor's dad. If you just know the name, it was. I'm so sorry, I'm forgetting the name. So basically, there were these typical villains in movies talking about India, like how it came to India. So there were these villains who were glorified, right? Even today, um, there's what's the name? Sonu Sood, right? Sonu Sood has like for the most of his life, he has played roles which was mainly the main villain, right? But look at his body; he's ripped. He looks dashing and he's dapper. He's always dapper in all the movies he plays. So that's basically they're glorifying the villain, right? So that's how it started. It started like as our culture progressed, as technological advancements came, movies बनी, सब कुछ हुआ, villains glorify हुए, boys will be boys was just a dig at men कि ठीक है, you can't expect them to treat women properly. You should not expect rather. But over the years, crimes होने लगे and boys will be boys was used as an excuse to just just as an excuse for the most heinous crimes, right? Even yesterday I was just looking at a news article which said that I guess minor was raped and then her face was thrashed with a brick, right? So there will again be those people who defend the boys, that boys are boys, right? There will always be those people, the other side of the coin, and the other side of the coin will always exist. Like as long as society exists, the idea of a nation state exists, these people will always exist. Now, um, I mean, I don't really see how this idea came in. It was again, of course, it started with the whole glorification. जो हमारे influencers होते हैं, social media star, like they'll be like boys will be boys. No, they're partying. The boys will be boys. The male cast was partying so hard, like till 3 in the morning, because boys will be boys. No one can stop them. Or like so and so team was partying, or so and so people were partying, because even the middle-aged man or um, aged man, if he parties, we use the term boys will be boys. Because boys will be boys means you can't expect them to behave with dignity. If boys will be boys, it's because they can't be a man, right? That's why. Even if they age, they can't be a man. They're still a boy. You can't really expect them to behave properly. You can't really expect them to like give everyone the respect they deserve or treat everyone with dignity. So that's why I mean, of course, it's a glorified term, but definitely, I don't see any sense with linking boys will be boys with any of these instances of sexual abuse, sexual violence, or rapes. Like, there's no linkage between it. People just say it because they have nothing else to say. They're like, ठीक है, गलती हो गई. लड़के हैं, बच्चे हैं. Right, so that's the thing.
Okay, anyway, I think the meeting is
Um,
getting over. So could you rejoin? Let's all rejoin.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Rishika, restart recording, okay? Let's stop this recording and restart it. Yep.
so previously you said that you gave an explanation on boys will be boys. So recently
Right.
I saw an interview in which people have this misconception that rape is also done by consent and tali do haath se nahi bachti. So what is the common error made in the upbringing of children, and how does it contribute to the rape problems in India?
Tali. Okay. Um, right.
Are you aware
So,
about that phrase that was said by? Yeah.
like, there's been a lot of instances where this phrase has been used. Um, ठीक है, ताली एक हाथ से बच सकती है for them. I mean, it's very uh, like these are the people who sit in parliament seats in parliaments, and they are the ones who are banging the table, so they should know कि ताली एक हाथ से बच सकती है कि नहीं. But anyway, it's fine. Let's educate them today. So, talking about uh, it's with consent. Now, how can you say, like, how can you tell it's consent or not? It's two ways: either what the victim is saying, or like उसने speech दे दी कि हाँ, bite दे दी मीडिया को कि नहीं, it was not consensual. So ठीक है, अगर आप उसको believe नहीं करना चाहते कि false charges है और whatever it is, जैसे कि अभी हाथरस वाला केस हुआ है, वहाँ पे a lot of government officials, now that they have burned the body, you can't do the post-mortem again, right? So now they will show this कि भाई rape हुआ ही नहीं था, क्योंकि I don't know if you guys would have seen it or not, but there's just one bite out there, bite as in the news media bite, which shows the victim saying कि उन्होंने मुझे rape करने की कोशिश की थी. Now they are saying कि उसने बोला है मुझे रेप करने की कोशिश की थी, बट हमने जब अपनी पोस्टमार्टम रिपोर्ट निकाली उसमें कुछ हुआ ही नहीं था ऐसा. कोशिश डजंट मीन कि हुआ है. आई मीन, कोशिश भी गलत है, पर चलो ठीक है, लेट्स आर्ग्यू ऑन देयर स्टैंडर्ड्स कि कोशिश करना गलत नहीं है, कोशिश करी थी तो नहीं हुआ, ठीक है. बट पोस्टमार्टम की रिपोर्ट में वो आ जाएगा कि शी जस्ट हैड बेसिकली अटैक था, वायलेंट अटैक था, उसको बांध दिया था या उसको मारा था. तो रेप चार्जेस और नॉर्मल एक वायलेंट अटैक के चार्जेस में फर्क आ जाता है, by a lot, right? So agree. Now, other than that, how can you say tell कि वो rape था कि नहीं? It's that when someone is raped, like there are several hormones involved, right? There are several fluids involved. Basically, sperm, if a sperm is found there or not, right? That's what हमारे नेताओं को ये पता है. That's what our politicians know. और वो इस basis पे बोलते हैं. But the fact is, like, even if the sperms are not found or they're not involved, it it doesn't mean that there was no insertion, right? So you can't say कि हुआ था नहीं हुआ था. I mean, politicians are the least qualified people to tell us कि rape हुआ था कि नहीं हुआ था. Just उनका काम है बयानबाजी करना, to give statements, so they shouldn't just say anything. So again, यही मेरा point है कि you can't say कि ताली एक हाथ से नहीं बचती, और नहीं हुआ था रेप, और जो भी है, क्योंकि be it consensual or non-consensual, hormones secretion ये involve होता है. So you can't really identify कि किस में हुआ था या किस में नहीं हुआ था. I mean, a rape victim, why would a rape victim lie? I mean, ठीक है यार, domestic abuse में there were instances जब वो आया था law कि women were like a few women उन्होंने misuse किया था. But for a rape victim, why would someone say कि rape हुआ था मेरा? And moreover, it's again celebrities like Kangana Ranaut who are again glorifying, or like, let's say, rape culture को promote कर रही हैं वो by normalizing these slangs. Because एक bite था again where Kangana Ranaut was saying my house was being like it was being brought down by the BMC, and it felt like I was being raped. I mean, what's the connection over here? उनका घर गिराया जा रहा है, she feels like she's being raped. I mean, I don't know what is it with the Bollywood people or the influential leaders, but them normalizing this is like, because of this there are political leaders जो कि इसको आगे use कर पाते हैं, या कोई भी लोग, you and me, we are having a conversation, हम भी इतनी आराम से शायद, if we were just a couple of friends we are talking, so हम उसको अपनी normal conversation में भी इसलिए involve कर पाते हैं because of these people. Yeah.
There was a second part to the question. What is a
I'm
common
sorry.
error made in the upbringing of children, and how does it contribute to the rape problems in India?
Right. Common problem is that no one knows. Again, ये जो leaders हैं, political leaders जो यार statements दे रहे हैं, या or any people जो ये statement देते हैं, ये statement क्यों देते हैं? Because they are not aware, they are not educated, and even if they are educated, they are not educated about these particular things. There is no sex ed, there is no proper uh, education about how to treat everyone with dignity, with respect. Sex ed तो दूर की बात है. But just giving them a class on how to, like, how to behave आप कर सकते हो. शायद teachers उनको मार के या parents को like inform करके, that's something that they can do till a certain extent. 12th class तक कर सकते हो. But what उसके बाद क्या? What after that? Right? So उसमें कोई awareness नहीं है, because क्योंकि कोई government ने initiative ही नहीं लिया है. Like, the only government that I see that's progressively working towards achieving this whole thing, like, जो कि एक थोड़े unconventional methods को use करके, या unconventional um, topics जैसे कि entrepreneurship, या फिर happiness classes जो सबसे ज्यादा famous हुआ है इस वक्त, that's the Delhi government. Right, the Delhi government has started with teaching kids about unconventional things जो कि शायद society में इतने सालों से नहीं पढ़ा रहे थे. So they have started this, and in several where interviews I've seen the education minister Manish Sisodia has mentioned that sex education classes भी होंगी, and properly behave करना, like a proper, like, behave as an ऐसे नहीं कि you should sit straight or you should just like आंखों में देख के बात करो, something like that. No, but how to treat everyone with dignity, with respect, or like how to articulate your problems, your stress-free problems, and just everything combined, right? So this is the government that's taking the initiative. Rest पूरे India में देखा जाए, I don't think there's any sort of education there. The only education we have on this matter is on our friends. That's it. So this is where um, एक कोई lack भी नहीं है. It just doesn't exist.
Okay, so talking about school and education, many schools penalize girls for not abiding by the dress code of skirts being below the knee level, etc. They do this to avoid boys getting distracted. What are your views on
Right.
this?
They do it. Okay, this is something new because this was something that was done in my school as well, but I didn't know it was because boys get distracted if girls wear short skirts or something like that. But ठीक है, all right. It's a new experience for me. मेरे को नहीं पता था. Right. So अगर ऐसा भी एक चीज है, like in my school it was just like कि आपको Indian culture, हमारी society ऐसे कहती है कि do not reveal and लोग क्या कहेंगे and what would
That's
other people
also
outside of the
one
school
of the
think.
reasons. That's also one of the reasons the dress code is that
All
way.
right. So I mean that just makes it all worse, right? Because it's really uh, again, it's really bad that such things exist in the modern India. So of course, again, to stop boys getting distracted. So these are the reasons जिनकी वजह से uh, लड़कियों को एक पर्टिकुलर एक रेस्ट्रिक्टिव ड्रेसिंग करनी पड़ती थी. इन माय स्कूल गर्ल्स हैड टू वेयर कुर्ता एंड अ सलवार, राइट? नॉट ऑन लॉन्ग स्कर्ट्स भी नहीं, a kurta and a salwar. Now wearing kurta and a salwar is in general very restrictive. Like a lot of your activities are restricted. You can't take part in active sports. You can't like active sports or dance or even like in general a lot of things. Like आपका day to day body structure, body posture को आपको maintain करना पड़ता था. If you had to sit down, आपको कुर्ता देखना पड़ता था, सलवार देखना पड़ता था, that it's properly managed because salwars are very loose from like near your leg area, right? So of course सब कुछ देखना पड़ता था and इसके बहुत backlashes थे. First, of course, winters में ठीक है, but summers में wearing a whole kurta and salwar it was like a lot of hard work, and also surviving through the day wearing that restrictive dressing is a big task. Secondly, आपका in general co-curricular activities में आपका restrict हो जाती थी. Third, let's just consider कि अगर there were special days जहाँ पे girls used to wear your skirts. So I personally have seen my friends were getting scolded by PT teachers or class teachers, and they were sent home. Their parents were called. They were given a written note that they had to get signed by their parents, that uh, the clothing wasn't proper or it wasn't appropriate. Now, who decides what is appropriate or not? Like, it's, for example, I have a daughter, it's my daughter. I tell her what to wear because I want her to enjoy life. I'll be like, okay, just go ahead and wear what you want to. It's my decision that, okay, yaar, I would just, like, I'm looking after her by giving her the opportunity to be free, right? Until the time she's a minor. Again, minor bhi hai, you can't rest. Matlab, you can legally, but you can't tell her ki you should not wear such clothes, you should not buy deep necks or something like that. All right, she's a minor. I'll just say ki wear whatever it feels like. If I feel ki kuch thoda um, like if it's way too much revealing or if some parents do, that should be just put out in a very subtle way and not just ki just don't wear this or just don't go out, log kya kahenge. No, that's wrong. Don't create that perception. Your main objective is to like of course the parents do this because they like out of concern. It should be out of concern. It should not be out of the fact कि भाई लोग क्या कहेंगे, समाज क्या सोचेगा. No, that's wrong. It all starts in here, right? It's all in our brain. So of course parents बताएंगे. It should not be the schools. And if schools do that, I would say कि parents should go ahead and sue them. They should just put some like start with some legal procedure or something like that, because schools have no right to tell students what to wear, what not to wear, until unless, let's say, a student is going in there wearing I don't know, like shorts पहन के जा रही है, ठीक है. No, you have a uniform, decorum है, we maintain that. But you can't tell us कि how long or how short that our dresses should be, or how restrictive our dresses should be. Right. So of course, that's a very wrong practice that exists in India, and ये सब होता है कि again under the term समाज क्या कहेगा. So समाज को जो कहना है वो anyhow कहेगा. So why bother? Why take away those golden years from a kid's life?
So, women who are victims of sexual assault are often labeled as untouchable or unmarriable. How should society change their behavior towards these victims for the better?
I mean, I've never personally given it a thought, because I don't know, I just haven't, because I've never heard. I have heard about it, but it didn't seem like a big issue to me, because um, for me personally, personal life में हम सबका क्या होता है, we're individuals, we're only concerned about what's happening around us and what's affecting us. But from the perspective of an organization, like since we cover a lot of topics, it didn't really come up as of yet, right? But thinking about it, I mean, ठीक है, she was a victim to victim to sexual violence. What's her fault? Has she done something wrong? Has she committed a sin? Has she killed someone or murdered someone, robbed a bank, jailed, arrested? No, no, because she's not at fault. The people who are at fault are behind the bars, and they were just like there's just two keys, one who's at fault, one who's the victim. Victim की कोई गलती नहीं है, जिसकी गलती थी उसको उसकी सजा मिल रही है. ये लोग जो होते हैं, like the society, like who are they to tell us or to tell the victim or to blame or to label the victim as unmarriable or untouchable, right? So again, it really depends. It's a multifold thing. Like Indian culture is the very root of what's wrong with our society. कोई set culture नहीं है, कोई set आपका वो नहीं है, एक history नहीं है कि हम इसे track कर सके कि यहाँ गलती थी या यहाँ गलती थी. बहुत dynamic culture है, अच्छे parts भी हैं, but these are the bad parts. You can't track it where the problem began. You can't change it because there's like people from 100,000 different religions out there. But हाँ, एक जो factor है, that's money again. So I don't think rich families में और upper middle class family में this thing persists इतना. I don't like, I have never heard of it personally इस scenario में. Like even if it's something that's shown in a movie or a TV serial show, यही दिखाएगा कि जो victim है, that victim belongs to a very lower class family. किसी भी movie, like there was this movie from जो movie थी, right? जो recently आई है, तो उसमें भी दिखाया था कि she worked for an NGO, like family wasn't very stable in terms of monetary aspect. It was like she belonged to a very low income family or a lower middle income family. So ये वहाँ पे persist करता है, because frankly I am no one, like I'm not the right person to answer this from, but मेरा personal view ये है कि I mean it's just wrong. It's just simply wrong. It shouldn't be there. लोग क्या कहते हैं, ऐसे तो हरियाणा और उत्तर प्रदेश में वो लोग भी हैं where people like when a girl child is born, people celebrate, वो पूरे गांव को पार्टी देते हैं कि यार मेरे यहाँ लड़की हुई है. So होने को ऐसे लोग भी हैं in low lying places पे, in terms of like जो पर्टिकुलर रिलीजन से बिलोंग करते हैं या पर्टिकुलर कास्ट से बिलोंग करते हैं, चाहे वो लोअर इनकम फैमिली से बिलोंग करते हैं, बट इफ अ गर्ल चाइल्ड इज बोर्न, दे आर हैप्पी, दे सेलिब्रेट इट. सो अगेन देयर इज डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ पीपल आउट देयर. यू कांट रियली से कि एक पर्टिकुलर कम्युनिटी, एक पर्टिकुलर कास्ट, एक पर्टिकुलर रेस गलत है, बट इट्स जस्ट दैट कुछ लोग गलत है जो कि सिमिलर है. इवन इफ यू टॉक अबाउट हिंदू मुस्लिम, हिंदूज गलत नहीं है, मुस्लिम्स गलत नहीं है, लोग गलत है. सिमिलरली यहाँ पे भी कोई एक पर्टिकुलर इनकम से मैटर नहीं करता, कोई पर्टिकुलर कल्चर या रिलीजन से मैटर नहीं करता. इट्स जस्ट दोज पीपल दैट समथिंग्स रॉन्ग विद देम. सो as long as लोग रहेंगे, लोग बोलेंगे.
Okay, let's move on to the next question. Many people who don't support our cause say they prefer engaging in much more positive topics. What do you think of such statements, and how do you think we should respond to them?
Right. So humans have this tendency that they don't really want to uh, engage in something or engage in any activity if it causes a displeasure to them, if it does not comfort them, because we tend to live in our bubble and we don't want that bubble to burst. The moment that bubble bursts is like, if I am living in my bubble, if I attend one of your talks and I see कि this is the scenario, if I see one of your posts on Instagram और मैंने देखा कि statistics इतने हैं कि हर 5 मिनट में या हर 15 सेकंड में एक रेप क्राइम इंडिया में रजिस्टर होता है, my bubble will just burst, right? And when this bubble burst, you see what's actually going on in the society, right? So of course people, no one likes doing this. I don't like fighting for a cause which does not give me any monetary gain. Why would I do that without money? मेरे को नहीं पसंद. You are here, आपको भी नहीं करना. आपको, you don't want to involve. You like, of course, your organization is helping to people engage in dialogues and creating dialogues and making people aware. But I am pretty much sure कि आपको भी ये काम नहीं पसंद because you want to imagine a nation जहाँ पे इसकी जरूरत ही ना पड़े. Like that's the main goal. So no one likes to do that. It's something that everyone should do, but they don't really take that initiative. हम कर रहे हैं, हम गाली भी खा रहे हैं, हमें थ्रेट्स आ रहे हैं, जो भी आ रहे हैं हमें नहीं पसंद. हम क्यों रोज की गाली खाएं कि हाँ you're wrong or so and so, you're fast, you party, and but it's something that we feel is required, right? It's required to make a better nation. एंड इसलिए हम कर रहे हैं. एंड जिनको सुनना है वो सुनेंगे, जिनको नहीं सुनना जो नहीं सुनेंगे. पीपल हु रिमेन apolitical slash who have no say in any matter, who are not belonging to either sides of the coin, they're the worst. They're the worst because they are silently, they are the part of the problem. Like if you don't speak up, it means you're aiding those who are at fault. So that's wrong.
So before we go to the last question, our founder Vriddhi
Yeah.
Goenka, we will just about tell you about something specific about our organization. So then we can sort of give you context. Just
Right.
one second.
Okay, so hi, I'm Riddhi, and I'm just going to talk about like 3 of our projects and few of the volunteer projects that we have planned. And even you could give us an overview about the Indian Activist Forum and what exactly you guys do for the implementation of
He has.
Okay, I wasn't there. So our first project is called Suraksha X project, and it's basically to raise awareness. And as you spoke about, like a rape, there is a victim every 15 minutes. Highlighting such prominent statistics is really important because people often fail to realize how important rape is and how normalized it is in today's society and how it's essentially considered as a daily crime. So we really need to look into it.
So that is the project where we're using our social media pages
Right.
to highlight the fact that rape is not a joke and it needs to be given more attention to. And as you saw, after like the Dalit cases that happened in Uttar Pradesh, now it's becoming prominent. But this organization was opened several months ago, and it should have been prominent even at that time, because it's not like we should wait for a case to actually start.
Right.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're
Okay,
audible.
so I was, yeah, so I'm just gonna keep my video off because I think
Right.
like I lag out. So what I was trying to say is like we shouldn't basically wait for a crime to start highlighting an issue. I mean,
Right.
of course, we're grateful that activists and other influencers are speaking about it right now, but we shouldn't have waited for something prominent to come up. I think it was essential for rape to be an issue from the very moment it started, which has been prevailing since like the past several years. So that is one thing that the project that we started because we wanted to like highlight the fact that it's not a joke and people should actually pay attention to it. Then secondly,
Right.
this is the main project that we have because of course after raising awareness, what do you have to do? You have to implement something, right? So when we were looking at solutions to rape, we got inspired by an organization called She's Against Rape in Delhi, and they used a tangible solution. So our second project is called Kanya Suraksha X Project Violation Whistle, and that basically looks at like the
Mhm.
violation whistle, which is a rape whistle, and
Right.
it's something not like pepper spray, so it can be used for defense to just create a commotion to call people around and cause a chaos that something wrong is happening. And
Mhm.
it cannot be used against the victim because it doesn't harm, I mean against the rapist, because it doesn't harm the rapist in any way. So we're ongoing looking at manufacturers of now for the rape whistle, and you can probably look at our Instagram if you want to see how it looks.
Right.
So that's our second project
So just
where we
adding on to the
basically
rape whistle, just adding on to the rape whistle. So this whistle is an electronic whistle and once you start it, it can go up to 130 decibels. So even if a woman is finding herself in the situation, and she can just throw throw the whistle somewhere near, so it's or keep it in her pocket or something like that. Whereas a pepper spray might be very useful in that time, but people haven't if the rapist can go to these lengths where they are killing the victim, why can't they use they can obviously use the pepper spray against the victim, and they can hurt the victim there. So that's what we thought, that the rape whistle is very efficient that way. And as Vidhi said, we that's our main project, and we are finding the best manufacturers to give us that. And we will be fundraising for this, and we'll be distributing it to the workforce, and the people in textile industries
Mhm.
who might be very vulnerable to these cases. Yeah. To
Right.
Vidhi for the third
yeah.
project.
So our target audience for the second project is basically young women entering the workforce in Mumbai. So we're starting our fundraiser in the next week, and we're
Mhm.
basically going to be using all the funds for the rape whistle and all the representatives, and if the volunteers want to stay, they're going to be able to distribute the rape whistle when the situation of COVID probably settles down and we can actually start visiting places. So yeah, that's our second project. And our third
Right.
project is sort of big, but I think we are really studious and like people who really care about this issue. So if we implement it in the correct way, I believe that it can happen. So we want to partner up with the Mumbai police, which is called Kanya Suraksha X Educating the Officers. And it looks at two aspects. Firstly, it's connected to our rape whistle project because, of course, if the rape whistle is actually pressed, one sec, if the rape whistle is actually pressed and the people do not know how to react to it, it is very important for the police to know how the rape whistle sounds.
Right.
So partnering up with the Mumbai police to tell them how the rape whistle sounds and what the siren sounds like so that they can react to the situation is very important. And the second aspect to educating the officers is talking about rape as a whole. Because but as I said, that we got inspired by an organization called She's Against Rape in Delhi, and I was talking to the founder,
Right.
and they also partnered up with the Delhi police. And while they did that, they realized that the police themselves do not know that sex without consent is a crime. So sometimes, perhaps even half the cases aren't even reported, but several times when they are, the police themselves do not know how to react to it. They don't know what laws there are actually against it, and the offender has to be punished, or rather go needs to go to jail for a certain period of time. So educating the officers and minorities in Mumbai to tell them about this issue, and that is actually really prominent, and they should take action against it, is our third project. And that's basically what the core team had looked at from the start, and it's going to be done few years down the line. But we have other volunteer projects. So Narissa is one of our volunteers, and we have to basically talk to influencers and look at their opinions on this whole
Right.
issue, because I think spreading awareness is really important. Then we have a project that basically, when again the COVID situation settles down, we're going to be visiting remand homes, which is basically juvenile jails, and just talking about going to the remand homes and teaching them about the about like what they've done wrong and why they shouldn't do it again, because they've gone to jail probably also because they have assaulted someone, perhaps maybe not knowing that they did it intentionally. So teaching them that it's wrong. And yeah, there are several other projects like self-defense seminars, and we're holding
Right.
up other shows and stuff like that for our fundraiser. So yeah, that's what we're looking at essentially.
So now coming to the last question, which is related to the information we gave.
Okay, so this brings me to the last question. Um, what do you think about Kanya Suraksha, and in what ways do you suggest we can improve?
Right. So of course, I mean, here there's no two sides to the coin key, if it's a good thing or it's a bad thing. Of course, it's a thing that's much needed, especially like considering that the media gives all the traction to such issues only when some crime has been committed, right? 4 or 5 days from today, you open your news channels, you open any social media website, it might still be on social media, but not a lot of news channels would be covering it on their prime time, right? So of course, this is something that should that like it's something that should not just spring up and just have like 5 to 10 days of traction and just slowly die out. It's something like this problem persists in our nation, and of course, working towards a cause, like engaging people in dialogue, something like what we're having today, and moreover making sure that it's being implemented, because a lot of policies, they are created in like with working with several think tanks, with working with several government agencies. They just create policies while sitting in their offices with their ACs on, in a conference room, in their buildings like Antilla, and surrounded by security guards and their personal security. So they don't really know what it feels like to be a woman traveling back to her home after doing her shift from the offices. So, of course, educating people, educating the police, and of course, the idea of the rape whistle, it's really great. And it's something that should be, you know, like went ahead with. Even like I stay in Delhi. Right. So this is please don't mention in your video I stay in Delhi. This is something
Sure,
just
we'll cut it out. We'll cut it out.
yeah. So of course, um, I actually don't stay in Delhi, but please don't mention Delhi. Right. So of course, like I didn't know about the organization Riddhi just mentioned, which is working with the electronic rape whistles, right? Of course, rape whistles was an idea again, which came from the West because of the rise, a drastic rise in the number of rape cases that was seen there, right? So the idea is great, and if you guys are working on finding ways to implement it, it's really great. And whatever support I can give you guys through my personal connections through Indian Activist Forum, of course, we'll always be there to help you guys out. And you've got a young team who's working on it. And before we end it, I'd just like everyone to introduce themselves once, like if that's not an issue for you all.
Okay, so I can start if you guys want. So I'm Riddhi. I study in Aditya Birla World Academy. I'm 15 years old. I'm in the 10th grade. And
You're sorry?
I'm the founder. I'm 15 years old.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That's really great.
Yeah, so basically, like, if it's, I mean, the organization itself, like, the organization I was talking about in Delhi was actually one of my cousins. So he inspired me to start this organization in Mumbai to create a change because I saw the fact that he made a big difference. So, I mean, I guess if this goes as planned, I think with like the enthusiasm of all the people that we have in the team, I think even we can go far and like reach great heights.
Yeah. So my name is Krish Shroff and I am 16 years old, studying in Aditya Birla World Academy too. And yeah, I'm the managing director of Kanya Suraksha. And I've had a lot of different experiences with this. I've had I've had a victim come up to me and actually speak about it, and we were mutual friends. So so I have felt it on that emotional connection, like this personal touch too, and it like that's why I feel like enraged and livid about the fact that this happens so much.
The meeting's gonna end. Do you wanna join back so we can just
Quickly in like 5 minutes, like just for 5 minutes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So I never had that opportunity. Like the whole idea of Instagram, it got famous like almost 5 years back, but I didn't have a mobile or a laptop till I graduated from my 12th, like when I got in my college. So of course, it's really great that you guys are equipped with the right knowledge, with the right set of ideas, and you're actually doing this, like going ahead with this. It's really great. And never let someone tell you that you're too young for this. All right, I have seen that personally when I have worked in these political parties where all these uncles and these aged people work, right? So I have worked with 4 major political parties, and in all of these parties I was always the youngest member, right? I've worked for almost 6 elections now. I'll be working on my 7th one as well pretty soon. So don't let anyone just tell you you're too young to do that, and just keep going ahead. Over to you, Krish.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Suraj Sharma. I think all of us actually really learned, we learned many new things and, got so many perspectives on this topic. And more than just the facts that you told us, I think all of us found your opinion on these topics very inspiring. So I feel this is an amazing avenue to help people, and make them aware about these topics. And we love to collaborate with the Indian Activist Forum, and we hope we support each other in the future too.
Of course, looking forward
Thank
to
you
it.
so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah.
I just stay
Um,
back for a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. It was good.
Yeah, it was actually really insightful. And we got like a preview also, like how do we have to go about it in the next, because so many
Ishika, you can stop recording.